Aloha, welcome to another episode of the Dulcimerica video podcast. My name is Futch, and this is yet another new dulcimer that has come into the collection here. This is Bridget, and she is a Folkcraft teardrop CSH model. A lot of great sound coming out of this little lady here. Well, we've been talking a little bit about scales. We started off with three major scales. Those are D major, G major, and A major, and how they can be played across the strings in boxes. For example, the D major scale. The G major scale starting at the 3rd fret. And the A major scale starting at the 4th fret and utilizing our 6.5 fret. We then also talked about minor scales and how the relative minor or natural minor scale of each of those scales right there, if you started the scale on the 6th note, you would have the relative minor. For example, if we started on the 6th note of the D major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the note is B, that would give us a B minor scale using the same notes that are in the D major scale. Now, I hate to say so, but I correctly or incorrectly mentioned that the E minor scale was a box of 4 starting from E on the bass string over. But as the case is, that is an E minor scale. However, it is an E minor scale in Dorian mode, which has a flat 3rd and a flat 7th. The true E minor scale has a flat 3rd, a flat 6th, and a flat 7th. And actually you can start that right here using our box of 3. Hear the difference between using the C sharp to using the C natural. So I want to clarify that before we went any further. Also, we talked about the other relative minor scales. We did the B minor scale right there, did the E minor scale right there, and also our F sharp minor, which would start from F sharp on the middle string. Now we're going to get into another type of scale. We talked about the 12-note chromatic scale at the very beginning of this study of scales. And then we talked about the 7-note diatonic scale that we're familiar with when playing the mountain dulcimer. And that 12-note chromatic scale has 12 half steps. The 7-note diatonic scale has 5 whole steps and 2 half steps. Now we're going to talk about the pentatonic scale, major and minor. As its name suggests, penta meaning 5, this scale rather has 5 notes and consists of all whole tones. The intervals are the 1st and 2nd and 3rd note of the scale. We skip over the 4th and then play the 5th and 6th note of the scale. We'll be playing D, E, F sharp, A, and B. Just those 5 tones. Now that's playing across the strings in a box shape, but if you were to play them this scale up the bass string or melody string, it's very easy to spot because it's all the wide spots on the dulcimer, all the whole steps as we go up our scale. And even though this is a half step right here, a small fret space, if we did not have a 6.5 fret, we know our 7th fret would be a large space consisting of these 2 frets right here. So just hopping from the open, you've got your pentatonic scale. The shape in the boxes kind of goes in stack of 3 and then 2 and then 1, as you can see here, with the G pentatonic major scale, which consists of the notes G, A, B, D, and E. And then moving up to our A pentatonic major scale, which consists of A, B, C sharp, E, and F sharp. Once again, the first, second, third, and fifth and sixth notes of the scale. These scales are really handy if you're playing a tune and you're not really quite familiar with the tune. You can very safely play on those whole notes and just kind of bounce back and forth all over the place. And generally you'll not hit a wrong note. Now, just like we have major scales and minor scales, we have pentatonic major scales and we have pentatonic minor scales. The intervals between notes are the first, a flat third, a fourth, a fifth, and a flat seventh. So here, instead of dealing with D, G, and A, we'll deal with the relative minors of those, which would be B minor, E minor, and F sharp minor. The B pentatonic minor scale contains the notes B, D, E, F sharp, and A. Starting it from B, right here, and then we have our E pentatonic minor scale consisting of the notes E, G, A, B, and D. We'll start that higher up on the fretboard for reasons that we've explored earlier in this episode. Right here. And then we'll do an F sharp pentatonic minor, starting at the second fret on the bass string and carrying across. Notice again the shape of the boxes that we're playing across here. That's the basic shape of the pentatonic minor. Now, if these scales sound familiar to you, it's probably because they are basically the foundation of what we know as the blues scale. That is what you typically hear utilized along with major pentatonics in blues music, and there is also a blues pentatonic scale, but I'm going to save that for next time. So when I'm working on Dulcimer music here in the studio, I tend to divide my time in between working on tablature and music and learning new tunes, and then aimlessly noodling and not really sort of having any agenda, just kind of letting the music flow. And then I work on straight up techniques and exercises, and one of these has to do with running scales across the strings and up and down the fretboard in their various shapes and forms and types. So I do major and minor scales, I do a major and minor pentatonic scales, and then I do some blues scales as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for all of your fun emails and encouragement. And once again, if you have any requests, please do feel free to send them to me at bingfutch@yahoo.com. Until next week, this is the Dulcimerica video podcast, and I have no head. Mahalo, nui loa. We'll see you next time.